Nikolina, we got a lawyer in town. Welcome
Yes.
to One Life Club.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited about this interview, and for two reasons. One, you're a talented lawyer.
Thank you.
Two, you started your own law firm, so you don't work for somebody else. And three, the way I see it, you're an extremely good marketer. So everything
Thank
you're
you.
doing marketing-wise now, you're standing out. So you're kind of breaking away from that traditional marketing of business in general. You'll stand out. Who is Nikolina? Tell us.
Nikolina, okay, well, I'm a lawyer, we all know that. Well, I'm also a wife, a mother to a beautiful stepson as well. And, Nikolina is a daughter as well. I grew up in a very different, challenging lifestyle, you could say, so to speak, with diversity, with my parents having come here from Croatia. And Nikolina is someone who's passionate, tenacious, hardworking, dedicated, loyal. So there's a lot about me. And and I guess that comes out in my personality with my marketing. Obviously being a lawyer, there's those perceptions that, you to wear black or, you're, I guess, modest, so to speak, or you don't put yourself out there, whereas I've always had that little bit of a personality and flair, so to speak, about who I am. So Nikolina is someone who's definitely living their authentic life, that's for sure.
And that's what I feel like. I actually got goosebumps.
Oh, thank you.
Not because I'm cold. The reason why I got goosebumps because starting any business, running any business is very hard.
Definitely.
And then if you want to stand out, it's really hard. Personally, it's really hard because you feel like, okay, if I start to be, non-traditional, I might be judged.
That's right.
You know, and us as a humans, I think we all want to be loved or like to be loved. So last thing you want to think to yourself, oh my God, are people going to laugh at me? Are they going to judge me? So it takes a lot of guts and bravery, I guess, go out of your shell to say, you know what, I'm going to stand out and I'm not going to be offended. And I don't care what you guys think if you don't mean well.
That's right.
So let's start by finish law, became lawyer for somebody else. Was it a big decision for you to say, I'm going to go on my own?
Oh, it was a massive decision. I actually started working at a law firm by the age of 17. My father got me the job through someone he knew. And I basically started working, actually I wasn't even getting paid. My first job, I wasn't even getting paid. My dad begged for this man to give me a job, and he did after probably 3 months of my dad annoying him. And I worked there for, I think it was about 6 months, not even getting paid, till eventually they worked out that I was resourceful and I was worth hiring. And I worked that job for I think it was about 6 years throughout my law degree. And for me, that was, the foundations of me starting my law career and getting that practical experience. I graduated at law school, and a lot of my friends, they couldn't get jobs in the legal industry because they didn't have that practical experience. So it's really important that you get that practical experience while you're young, while you're studying, whatever it is that you're studying.
I'm going to stop you here for a second. Interesting. A lot to learn what you just said in the last 30 seconds. A lot of new generations, if I'm interviewing somebody, first question they will have for me, how much am I going to get paid? When you were starting, you just wanted to get in the industry.
Right. That's exactly right.
Your pay was the knowledge you were gaining.
Exactly.
So you, at a very young age, which is very hard to get that from young people now, you knew you had to pay the price. You worked 6 months for free. And then you worked for 6 years, same business, same law firm?
Yes.
6 years, you were just focused on learning. And the reality is, I know a lot of lawyers, when they were starting, including Giselle, first 6 years, you're not making much.
That's right.
You're not making much
That's
at
right.
all. But, you knew that for you to get where you want to get one day, there's a price to pay. And that is 6 months you were not getting paid. Or 5 years after that, you were not getting, you were not earning $1 million. You were getting a very limited amount of money.
That's right,
You were just focused on the knowledge, which is a really big lesson for anybody watching this, and I keep telling this to any person, you don't start climbing mountain from the top.
No.
Get a start on the bottom.
That's right. Yep.
Nobody starts from the top and says, I'm here. There is starting from the bottom, and trust me, for you to get to the top, there's a lot of, if you want to climb Mount Everest, there's a lot of training, a lot of trying to actually, get to the next step, and next step, and next step, and eventually one day, which might be 20 years from now, you're at the top of the Mount Everest.
That's right.
So that's one thing that I always keep preaching, and even yesterday I did a video on Instagram about One Life Club, and discussion I had with my partner Simon the other day. He said, Emil, we keep preaching to people it's going to take time, but everybody wants to get rich today.
That's right. Yeah.
And we said to them, look, you want to get rich today? We don't know how to do that, but we're going to tell you what works. And same message you're really sending here as well. Hey, it's going to take time. There's no shortcut to becoming.
Definitely, yeah, today. Definitely. And look, there's a lot to have, like I said, that experience and setting yourself goals and, getting that practical experience for that long-term gain.
Yes.
And, as much as I had a childhood dream that I wanted to become a lawyer and had these, these ambitions and goals, I only started my practice, I think it's only been a year and a half ago,
yes.
but I had spoken about it for such a long time.
Yes.
And, I'd worked at, several law firms, gaining experience, both plaintiff and defendant law firms. And it's taken years to build that confidence. Yes. So, it's not just, it's practical experience, obviously be educated and get your degree, but building that confidence to take that leap of faith is really important, because I don't know if I could have done it 10 years ago. I know I wanted to, there was a thought in the back of my mind. But I guess it
happens also at the right time.
That's right, that's right.
When it comes to the industry that you are in, it takes a lot of experience and practice, I guess, and gaining a lot of knowledge.
That's right.
Because you are playing with people's lives. It doesn't matter what kind of law you're practicing, you're representing people, and there's a huge decision making as well. And if you're not confident with decisions that you're making, can affect somebody tomorrow.
That's right. And it's also having that people skill,
Yes.
like the clients we deal with, they're in a, probably have hit rock bottom in their life.
Yes.
So it's not just being our clients' lawyers, it's also being their friend. Sometimes I joke and say I'm their doctor, psychologist, counsellor.
Yes.
I'm the one-stop shop, so to speak. And I guess that's that holistic approach you take, but it's also energetically connecting with people, that's really important. I don't know if it's just me per se, and it's in my personality and innately that I'm kind of like that with people in general, but I know that, I want to, it's a journey for the client, for me and them both, and taking that holistic approach. It's not just being a lawyer per se. So,
And talking about, being a lawyer and then starting a law firm, when you're a lawyer working for somebody else, first thing, you have a security.
That's right.
You're
Yes.
getting paid.
Yep.
Whatever the paycheck is, comes every week.
Mm-hmm.
Starting your own business, decision is, okay, any business, when it's young, when it's starting, I always say the hardest thing to do is to get business. And then to keep the clients is another thing. So making decision to go on your own, 18 months into it, still a young company.
Yes.
Or young firm, should I say. What would you say is the hardest thing about business?
Look, the hardest, taking that leap of faith and believing in yourself is the utmost importance with any business, whether you're a lawyer or any other industry. Having that, belief in yourself, I guess, I'd thought about it for so long, but I had to come to that point where it's like,
I can't just think about it.
I can't keep thinking about it. That's right. And nothing comes unless you manifest with intent. So if I didn't have, the intent was I had to actually physically go out there and take those next steps. I had to do what's called a practice management course. It's another course you had to do to actually open up your law firm. So once I did that, I was like, wow, I've done it. I've passed. Yes. Okay, this is it. This is that moment. I've got to make that decision. I've got to rip that Band-Aid off. I've got to give it a go. There's so much to think about, finances, background, like in terms of like your IT systems, your management systems.
And you're not just a lawyer.
You're not just a lawyer. You take
because when you're a lawyer for somebody else, you kind of everything's already organized.
That's right. So it's thinking about everything now. You know, the
electricity bill that you have to pay.
Accounting side of things that you don't necessarily think of when you're as you know, being a lawyer. And I have worked in managerial roles, being a lawyer, and I guess that kind of goes so far. But it's that kind of top end level where you're looking at everything, like you said, bills, everything like that. So definitely, it's taking that that manifestation and putting it into intent, and actually making those actions, which was the most critical part for me. And then once I ripped that Band-Aid off, it was like full steam ahead. I had to do it. I couldn't look back. And you're always going to have doubt. We're human at the end of the day, right? Yes. We're always going to, you know, have doubt about, have I made the right decision, haven't I? But once you get to that point, you're like, that's it. I just have to move forward. I can't.
But there's two types of people. Every human wants to do well, I guess. And when it comes to business, there's nothing wrong working for somebody else. You know, I always say, chase happiness, don't chase money. And
That's
don't
right.
chase ego or roles. You know, chase what completes you as a human. And but one thing I will say is, you know, that decision that you made, most people never make the decision. Most people are dreamers. They keep talking about it. And one day they say, okay, it's too late now.
That's right, yeah.
It's too late now because they could be 60, 70, 80, or for whatever reason. It's too late to take that step, and then before you know it, life is over.
That's right.
Because the reality is, I always keep talking about my age. You know, I'm 44, and the reality is, if I get to live to 88, which is a freaking long time, if I get to live, no, shouldn't say long time. If I get to live to 88, technically I'm freaking half dead, because half of my life is really gone. You know, just like glass of this water, started full and not much left now. And that's called life. So it is very crucial, you know, if you want to do something, there needs to come point in your life when you say, I'm just doing it. I'm just going to jump in that water and I will learn how to swim. Now, unfortunately, for your industry, it takes time. You can't just start your business today. You got to go to law school. You got to finish your degree. Then you got to go and work for somebody else, gain the knowledge. So you are more disciplined than a lot of other industries. For example, if you want to start your own real estate office, you can get a real estate agency license within a month or two, and you have your own business. With you,
that's incredible.
There's a discipline for many years that you have to go through obstacles.
A long journey.
Long journey.
Definitely.
You know, you can't just do it overnight, because even if somebody gave you a certificate, you still don't know law, you know, so you're stuffed.
That's right.
So which means everything that you have done is been just gaining that knowledge and confidence, which is also dangerous, because a lot of people, a lot of lawyers that I know, they get into this trap of, I've been already here for 10 years and I just spent another 5 years working for another law firm. I just made a partner there, and next thing is they're retiring, all gone. With you, you put that handbrake and you said, I'm going.
That's right. Definitely. I always thought I was someone who wanted more in life. I was never... I would always challenge everything. I never wanted to be set back in life or controlled, in a sense that I always wanted to live my best life. And living my best life was being truly authentic to who I am. And I think that, you know, it was a bit of a joke growing up. I always had that innate want to become a lawyer, and I always had that fighting passion to fight for justice. And like I said, we had this joke in the family that, you know, I think I was about 5 years old. And my parents, mum and dad, would both say to me, you know, save it for the courtroom, Nikolina. Because, you know, I wanted to fight for everything, for people's rights, for save the whales, you know, all those kind of things. So it was just weirdly, innately within me. And I know some people don't have that journey. So I know their journey in finding their feet and who they are, and fulfilling and living their best life, and or knowing who they are, what they want to be, so to speak, in their life that makes them happy is a different journey. Maybe it might take them longer to get to that point. So
I think you're a very passionate person. It's very easy
definitely,
to say.
100%.
Talk of passion. If you lost passion for law today, would you quit tomorrow?
Look, it's a hard question to answer. Well, is it? Because
you spend so much getting to this level, but then you lose passion, zero interest.
yeah, look, no.
And then you got other
Yeah.
side of the life that's left. What would you do?
I guess you need to have passion in anything you do. And I think that's one of the main things I always say. And I think I recently said it in a speech when I went to Croatia at the women's event there, that you need to continue to have passion in what you do, whether it's be a lawyer or anything. So it's a hard question for me to answer because I've always had passion. I guess I don't know what it's like not to. And I think perhaps the easy answer is you couldn't do what you're doing because how do you do anything in life if you don't have passion? But, so, yeah, I definitely don't think, if I ever got to that point in life, I'd probably already be planning the next step.
Hang the gloves up and see what else am I starting?
That's right. So, when I was younger, I did a lot of sports and I was passionate about cycling, and that was a big part of my background growing up and building that foundation. And also, setting goals as being an athlete, setting a goal and, having discipline in training and stuff like that. So, and I was always passionate about that. Now that I'm old, I say I'm older. I'm only, in my late 30s. But
don't say older. I'm older than you, and I don't feel old. and I know your husband is behind the camera as well. And if I ask him, "Are you old?" he will say, "Stop that. I'm definitely not old. So don't say that."
Oh, but look, I used to cycle when I was younger, and now that my focus is my business, and I'm in a different phase in my life. I don't have that passion for cycling. Everyone has. My friends and that ask, "Oh, are you still cycling?" And I'm not. My stepson's getting into cycling, and we do that as a bit of a hobby with him.
I had a office here at one stage. Now it's at One Life office.
Well.
Now, do you ever? I do this quite often. Maybe I'm just crazy the way I think. Do you ever look at young Nikolina, one that's 16 years old or 15 or 18, and I quite often look at this. Young Emil, but the specific age that I was going through some hard time back home. Home is Australia now, but back Croatia. When I was 11 or 12 years old, and I always look at that Emil and always say, we have come a long way.
Yeah, definitely.
Because do you ever do that?
All the time. And it comes from humble beginnings. It comes from knowing that, we had it tough growing up. English was a second language. Australia's a multicultural nation, but, times were different in the 80s and 90s, so to speak. And, my parents came here and they did it tough. And so we obviously did it tough as well. So I look back from humble beginnings, definitely, and go, wow, and you do have to stop and give yourself that credit, because if you don't, you kind of forget where you're going or why you've done certain things.
As you're chasing the next thing, I always
you have to appreciate the moment.
I live for the moments.
Yeah, definitely.
Yesterday, a great friend of mine, Sam, he sent me a message. He said, a friend of his died. And he said he died from cancer and he had 25 Ferraris.
Wow.
You can have a million Ferraris and everything.
That's right.
But when the day comes, you're going. The only thing that you're really taking with you is all of those experiences and decisions that you made when it was a crucial part of your life. And decision that you made, I'm starting my firm if that's what you really wanted.
That's right.
Because most people are dragging. I got a great friend. We went to the same school together. And he was the one that we all thought he's going to go far in life. And he did. But he was really alive. And when I was young, I was chasing business, and he ended up having 4 or 5 kids. And he ended up starting working for one company that he still works today for the last 25 years.
Wow.
And now he's at age 44. He's got zoo at home, house full of kids. And now he feels like he's got so many kids now. And he feels like, it's almost too late for him to do it, because
I can understand that.
He's got maybe a big mortgage or so many kids, and he's comfy, in his role. Now he feels like, it's too late. And before you know it, it'll be really too late. So I think, that making the decision to say, stuff it, I'm just going to go for it. Now, you are different from other lawyers that I know. You're an extremely good marketer, starting from pink suit.
Yes.
You're the only lawyer that I know that stands out. I think the other lawyer that I interviewed once, and she was standing out a little bit, but not as much as much as you.
Thank
in
you.
a good way, because as much as you're a great lawyer, good at anything, the reality is we are living in a world where we have access to every human. So might as well
Yeah,
get in
definitely.
front of them.
That's
Now,
right.
if you're a traditional lawyer or anybody, you're not going to stand out. You stand out,
Thank
starting
you.
from you're really taking advantage massively out of social media.
That's right. Yes.
It's free, costs you $0 to market yourself. You fun, but what I mean by you fun, you're really showing people that you're human.
That's
not
right.
a lawyer. I don't see you as a
Thank you.
lawyer.
I appreciate
don't
that.
talk to you as a lawyer.
Thank you.
I don't see you as anything but a human. And I think that's why you're doing so well, and that's why you're going to keep doing so well, because the way you put yourself out there, I feel like if I go and see you, I'm not talking to a lawyer, I'm talking to one of my mates.
Thank you. Yes.
Which means you have there are certain industries that I think that lawyers, accountants, doctors, dentists, like who the hell wants to see you guys? Do you know what I mean? Because when you go there, you're either going because you have some kind of issues. Nobody sees a lawyer or dentist or doctor. You see a dentist if you have issues, and if you see a doctor if you're sick, and you see a lawyer if you're dealing with whatever kind of problem that you have in your life. And I think you have broken the barrier of like, hey, don't see me as a lawyer.
That's right.
I'm here to help you.
I'm a human first before I'm a lawyer.
Human first.
That's right.
I'm here to help you. I know what the hell I'm doing, but I think that's where you stand out in a good possible way, because you find anybody, we definitely need to put an Instagram link here.
Thanks.
And so people can definitely see that you relate to every human as well. And I think when it comes to marketing, I always say I'm a huge marketer before anything. You have to be authentic.
That's right.
You are not me. I'm not you.
Exactly.
You're not anybody. You really are there to showcase this is who I am, and let me take you on the journey and help you as well. Was that a big decision for you to break that barrier of being traditional lawyer who market themselves traditional way, who wears a gray suit or dark suit? You out there, I'm a happy person. I know what I'm doing.
It's so funny you should say that. I am who I am. This is who I've always been. And I've always been, I'm not that cookie cutter lawyer, so to speak. And I'm someone who connects with people. I love connecting with people. I love going on their journey with them, helping them. And I think, sometimes that can, sometimes I can be just talking to clients for hours. I'm like, hang on a minute. Okay, let's get back to,
charging them.
No, but that's the experience in that's what I love about what I do. And I love connecting with people. And I mean, that's my sole purpose in life. I want to help people. And I've always wanted that from being a child. So the social media thing for me really was actually, in a way, a bit of a foreign land for me. And when I first started my practice, it's a really interesting story. My favorite color is green, and I love pink because, I love bright colors and stuff like that. And I thought pink's an empowering color for women. And I thought, right, I want to add a bit of pink into my logo, and gold, because I love gold. And so I remember kind of doing a survey through my family members and saying, look, what do you think? And when I created my logo and stuff, and everyone's like, oh, the pink, oh, I don't know, like, it's a bit out there. You might not be taken seriously. Like, we're seen as like the brunette version of Legally Blonde. Yes. And I actually thought, well, no, that's kind of what I want. Like that was an iconic movie for women, to empower women to become lawyers or whatever they want to do in life. And I kind of, I guess, was in a way, knew that my thought process was the opposite of what everyone was thinking, but I kind of got a little bit deflated by that and ended up starting my business without the pink logo.
Yes.
And I was doing all these posts and things, and I just thought, this isn't me. I'm not being authentic to myself. And I surveyed everyone again, and friends and family, and even started surveying people within the legal industry. And everyone's like, Nikki, this is you. This is who you are. Yes. Add the pink, it's very different.
Think about this. If you line up, if two of us go for a walk, middle of Brisbane CBD, and we line up 200 lawyers, I can tell you'll be probably the only one that's wearing pink. You'll stand out.
Yeah.
I always say in business, I keep telling people I'm sorry about the naked guy or naked girl. In front of my office here, literally, I don't know, maybe 10,000 people walk past. And if I'm standing all day watching people, I wouldn't remember a single person who walks past. Imagine if one naked guy walks past or one naked girl walks past. We're going to be talking about that person for days. Did you see that naked person?
Exactly.
I always say I want to be that naked guy in business, because end of the day, you want to stand out, but you also want to stand out by delivering as well. I always say I'm a great marketer. I'll stand out, but I will back it up.
That's right.
With my work.
That's exactly right.
You can market all your life. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, if you're not passionate on delivering great results, you're only going to last for so long.
That's
You'll
right.
be out of the game.
Yeah.
And that's where passion comes as well. And you can clearly see how passionate you are. What does one life mean to you?
Ooh, I love that question, actually, because I think it's a question that when you ask someone that question, they kind of have to stop and think. And I think that's, it's an interesting concept, because I guess we just live our lives in this kind of groundhog reality, the matrix, so to speak. And, we're routine, we're doing everything routinely each day. And we sometimes can forget, or we don't stop to think about, well, what is one life? What does that mean to you? I think the question for me is, well, am I being true to myself? Am I living that authentic life? Am I, doing what my sole purpose is? And to be honest, every day, especially now that I'm older and wiser, so to speak, I think about that every day, because I want to live an authentic life. I want to leave a legacy behind, that's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're smart, rich, or poor. We're all going to end up in the same place. As morbid as that sounds, that is the truth. And
I do want a gold casket, just so you know. Like, if I work so hard, if I make it, I want a freaking gold casket. Gemma, remember that? A pure gold, not just freaking gold plated, and you steal the rest.
Oh, well, I mean, they are things we have to think about. But look, I think we have to stop and we have to think about, what is that one life? Because it's individualized to each person, what that means to them. But if we live our life just in this routine Groundhog Day, we're going to forget, and we're not going to live in the moment. The most important thing for me especially is living in the moment and knowing that what I'm doing is authentic to me, but also living my sole purpose, which is helping people. That's what I love to do ultimately at the end of the day.
I think that's where you feel completed as well. And I'm sucker for that as well. I find joy seeing people happy.
Yeah,
more than,
that's right.
And
educating people, about that as well, because, we all got friends and family who, can be down in the dumps. And look, we're all human at the end of the day. We all have our moments. But I love, really boosting people's confidence and morale up, and, encouraging them, you only live once.
I think you're a sucker for positive energy, and I'm the same.
Totally.
If I walk into any room, and if people are not full of love, full of energy, if they're not passionate, I really don't want to be in that room. Or I'll do my best to change it, or get rid of the people in that room, or me walk out. Because what is the point? What is the purpose? What does never give up mean to Nikolina?
Wow. Never give up is perseverance, having being tenacious, and never doubting yourself as well. We're all going to go through challenges. We're all going to have hard times. And by God, I have definitely growing up. And recently, a couple of years ago, my husband had a terrible accident, fell off a ladder and sustained a brain injury. And that was the most horrific time in my life. And never giving up is pushing through that and persevering through those hard times, and knowing that life's going to get better. Life will, move on, so to speak, but things do get better in time. But look, you got to keep that positive. And I always say positive. You got to keep that positivity around. And it's also, being around people who are positive as well, to get through those hard times. And look, I'm so grateful. And I had my moments, I thought, I don't know if I can get through this. When my husband had his terrible accident, we went through a lot. He had to medically retire from his job. So a lot was going on, and I was actually meant to start my business at that time, and I ended up putting it off about 1.5 years, 2 years.
But you didn't give up.
But I didn't give up. And there you go. That's the answer.
And I met your beautiful husband today.
Yes, the amazing husband. He's my rock. He's my everything. And, he said to me, with everything he was going through, all the medical appointments, he couldn't drive, all that stuff, Nikki, can you please stop talking about starting a law firm and just do it? Now's the time. You can't wait. And I said, but you've had this accident. I got to keep working, and I got to put money on the table. Feed mouths, pay bills.
In life, there's never perfect time for anything.
That's right.
When is a perfect time? Because whatever we're doing, there are always challenges. I mean,
That's
we wake
right.
up in the morning, we're dealing with one challenge or two or whatever it is. So there's never perfect time to make that step.
That's right.
So I always say, a mind is our best friend and our biggest enemy.
That's right.
Nobody can convince you into anything better than your own mind, be negative and positive. How we react to life and situation that is in front of us, that's really our call. And
because you're the creator of your own life, right? You are.
You're
and
controlling it.
That's right. And I think a lot of people, they look at, they have the mentality of why is this happening to me, as opposed to looking at a negative situation from the sense of, well, what can I learn from this? I've always been that person. And I don't know where it comes from. And everyone always asks, where does this come from? And I've always been the person in diversity, through challenges, through setbacks. What am I learning from this? Yes, you're going to be a human at the end of the day and go, why is this happening to me? But if you can turn your mindset around and look at a negative from a positive and go, right, what am I learning from this? What can be achieved from this situation? So I don't know, for some reason I seem to have that innately within me, and
I think you're a fighter. You can really see this.
Definitely,
right through. And,
when I was younger and I was at school.
You're still young.
When I think it was like year 1 or 2, and I remember this, the teacher telling me, because my sister got...
It's so interesting how we remember that.
I know, and these are the things that I think push us as adults. I remember the teacher telling me, if you don't improve your grades, you're not going to get anywhere in life. Yes. And I remember thinking...
I've been told it as well, and I never improved my grades.
Okay.
I went downhill with the school, not uphill.
And I remember thinking, as a child, like, one, you shouldn't talk to me like that. I'm still a child and I have rights. But I thought, you know what, I could have easily taken that the wrong way and, seen that as a negative. And essentially it was probably not the right thing to say at that time, but it was a different era. But I took that as, well, no, actually, my journey is just different to everyone else's. And in fact, everyone has their own journey. But mine at that time was...
We don't know what pain somebody else is going through.
That's right. And I guess it's from that saying, or what she said to me, I thought, no, I'm not gonna not amount to anything. I will. So I think that was kind of that, no, I'm gonna prove you wrong kind of mentality. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, that's that one thing I remember as a child growing up, and it's that one thing that I'm like, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Which is interesting, how kids can get affected by what somebody else can tell them.
That's right.
Because when you're grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10, you're more sensitive because simply you don't have a life experience. Life hasn't beaten you. Like right now, I feel like I'm almost bulletproof when it comes to somebody offending me in any way, because I've been through so much in my life that I know what I will take, what I will not take personally, and what I can just push aside. But when you are young, it can be really hard. Saying that, I always say to people, even if they're 20, 30, 40, if they had such a bad childhood, unfortunately, they have to turn things around and really use it as a fuel for you to change your life and potentially life of your kids if you
That's
have
right.
As well. Because, anything that has happened to us in the past, we can either beat ourselves up
That's right, yeah.
or take it to become better tomorrow.
That's right.
Which is not easy to make the decision. And it's been great having you here. I'm really look forward to
Thank
to
you
our
for having
class
me.
as well. And I'll definitely look forward to doing more things in the future as well. But I think you're a good role model and a good example, not just to every female that wants to do well in their career or life, to also any male as well. And it's just freaking keep going.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
If you see me tomorrow wear a pink suit, I do have a purple car coming. And
but do you have a pink car?
You know what? So far,
don't, because no.
So far, I've been brave with orange, and I got yellow and coming and a few other things.
If you get a pink car, you have to let me drive.
If I get a pink car, well, seriously, I will stand.
I literally say to my husband, I want a pink Bentley. I want a pink Bentley. One day it's going to happen.
I'm pretty sure I have seen that. Maybe I think I've seen it somewhere. Maybe on TV there was a pink Bentley somewhere. I should Google this. Google it. I'm pretty sure it was Paris Hilton with pink.
Oh yeah, she does. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And welcome to One Life.
Thank you.
Great.